The moment I heard my mother's overly sweet voice on the phone, my stomach churned. "We're in Honolulu. Why weren't you at the airport yesterday, sweetheart?" I froze in place, standing in the middle of Dallas International Airport, my packed suitcase at my side. Her words slowly sank in, bringing a wave of cold realization. They had lied, intentionally. My name is Jocelyn Adams, and until this moment, I never imagined my own parents would go this far. I had been looking forward to this family trip for months, desperately needing a break after an exhausting work quarter. As a marketing executive, I had just wrapped up a demanding schedule, entertaining high-profile clients from overseas. This vacation was supposed to be my reward, a chance to unwind and reconnect with my family. "What do you mean yesterday?" My voice wavered as I clutched my phone tighter. "You told me the flight was today at 2 in the afternoon. I have the messages to prove it." The bustling airport, filled with travelers hurrying toward their own adventures, suddenly felt suffocating. My mother's response was laced with feigned innocence. "Oh, sweetheart, there must have been some sort of mix-up," she said, but I could hear the lie in her voice. "Your sister got here just fine. We're already settled in at the resort." Of course Amy made it. She had always been their priority, the golden child. Looking back, I should have been suspicious when they insisted on arranging all the flights themselves, saying it would be easier that way. These were the same parents who relied on me to help pay their bills, yet somehow, they couldn't trust me to book my own ticket. "This wasn't a mix-up, Mom." My voice grew steadier as anger replaced the initial shock. "You deliberately gave me the wrong date. You never wanted me to come, did you?" Silence. The kind that said everything I needed to know. Finally, she spoke again, her tone dismissive. "Now, Jocelyn, don't be dramatic. These things happen." I ended the call, my hand trembling. Around me, families reunited with excited hugs, couples held hands as they headed toward their gates, and children chattered eagerly about their trips. Yet I stood there alone, betrayed by the very people who were supposed to love me most. The irony wasn't lost on me. For the past 2 years, I had been financially supporting my parents, sending them money every month to help with their expenses after my dad's early retirement. Their mortgage, their groceries, their medical bills, I had covered it all. And yet, when it came to this trip, they had chosen to exclude me without a second thought. I looked down at my suitcase, utterly useless now. A lump formed in my throat, but more than sadness, a slow-burning anger was rising inside me. This wasn't just about a missed vacation. This was about years of being pushed aside, overlooked, and taken for granted. Right then and there, in that airport, I made a decision that would change everything. I had always wondered if my parents saw me as their daughter or simply as their personal bank account. Growing up, everything revolved around Amy, her dance recitals, her straight A's, her picture-perfect smile. I learned to exist in her shadow, constantly striving for my parents' love and approval. After college, I poured myself into my career, determined to build something of my own. While Amy chased her dream of becoming an actress, entirely funded by my parents, I was working late nights and weekends, climbing the corporate ladder. Within 5 years, I had earned a spot as the youngest executive at my firm, managing a team of 15 and handling major client accounts. That's when my father decided to retire early, claiming his arthritis had made work unbearable. But by then, their savings had dwindled, exhausted from supporting Amy's unsuccessful acting career. Suddenly, they were struggling, and without hesitation, I stepped in. Every month, I wired them $2,000 to cover their mortgage and utilities. When medical bills appeared unexpectedly, I paid them off. Just last year, I had given them over $30,000, money I had planned to use for a down payment on my own house. "We're so lucky to have such a generous daughter," my mother would say on our weekly calls. But those conversations always ended the same way, with updates about Amy's latest audition or her new headshots. They never asked about my work, my life, or even my well-being, unless they needed something from me. 2 months ago, when they mentioned a family trip to Hawaii, I had been thrilled. Finally, I thought, a chance to spend time together, to feel like I belonged. They assured me they'd handle everything since Dad had airline miles to use. "Don't worry about a thing," they said. Just focus on your big client meeting. We'll take care of it all. Like a fool, I had believed them. I had even sent extra money to help cover the resort costs, telling myself it's the least I can do. I had imagined relaxing on the beach, enjoying family dinners, and watching the sunset together. I had convinced myself that maybe, just maybe, this time would be different. Instead, here I was, standing alone in an airport with a packed suitcase and a broken heart. My phone buzzed. A new message. A photo from Amy. She and my parents lounged on the beach, cocktails in hand. The caption read, "Family vacation begins. Missing you, sis. Wish you could have made it." The fury that surged through me at that moment was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. Standing in the middle of the airport, staring at Amy's picture, something deep inside me finally snapped. I pulled out my phone and started scrolling through my past conversations with my parents. The pattern was undeniable. Every discussion about this trip had been carefully manipulated to ensure I missed it. I reread an old text from my mother. The flight is at 2 in the afternoon on the 15th. But when I looked at Amy's latest Instagram story, I saw the proof that shattered any illusions I might have held. Their boarding passes, time-stamped for yesterday, the 14th. This wasn't a mistake. It was a meticulously planned deception. Just then, my phone rang again. This time, it was my father. "Jocelyn," he began, his tone firm and condescending, as if I were a misbehaving child. "Your mother is very upset by your attitude. We made an honest mistake with the dates, and you're blowing this out of proportion. You're an adult. You should understand that these things happen." I let out a laugh, one completely devoid of humor. "An honest mistake? Then explain why Amy had the correct date. Why did you insist on booking everything yourselves? Why have you been deceiving me for weeks?" His voice sharpened. "Now, listen here." But I wasn't about to let him control the conversation. "No, Dad," he listened. "I just checked my bank statements. Last week, I transferred you $3,000 for this trip. Was that a mistake too? Or did you knowingly take my money, fully intending to leave me behind?" Silence. A long, heavy silence that told me everything I needed to know. Then, at last, he spoke again, his tone shifting, softer now, as if he were attempting to reason with me. "Jocelyn, you know we're on a fixed income. We needed that money for the trip. You're doing well in your career. You understand the importance of making sacrifices for family, don't you?" My hands trembled with rage as I gripped my phone. Sacrifices for family? I've been making sacrifices for years. I've drained my savings, abandoned my dreams of owning a home, everything, all to support you and Mom. And this is how you repay me? "Don't be selfish," he snapped. "Your sister needed this vacation. She's been under so much stress with her acting career and..." "Her acting career?" I cut him off, my voice rising. "You mean the hobby you've been funding with my money while she lives rent-free in your house? The endless auditions that never go anywhere while I work 60-hour weeks just to keep this family afloat?" "That's enough," he shouted. "I won't tolerate this disrespect. You've changed, Jocelyn. Money has made you cruel." Something inside me shifted. The hurt was still there, but now it was transforming into something more, something solid, something resolute. "You're right about one thing, Dad," I said calmly. "I have changed. And things are about to change even more." Without another word, I ended the call and opened my banking app. It was time to shut down the Bank of Jocelyn for good. The drive home from the airport was a blur, my mind consumed by a mix of anger and determination. That night, I gathered every piece of evidence I had. Screenshots of text messages, bank transfers, a carefully detailed spreadsheet outlining every dollar I had given them over the past 2 years. When I totaled the numbers, my stomach churned. $47,850. That was the price of my parents' so-called love. The next morning, I walked into my bank and closed the joint account I had set up to transfer money to them. Then, I called my company's HR department and removed my parents as beneficiaries from my life insurance policy. With each step, I felt lighter, as if I were finally freeing myself from chains I hadn't even realized were weighing me down. And then, the messages started pouring in. First, the guilt trips from my mother. "I can't sleep knowing you're upset with us. This is tearing our family apart. How could you be so heartless? Then Amy joined in. Oh my God, you're being so dramatic. It was just a miscommunication. Mom's been crying every day because of you. But it was my father's message that revealed their true colors. We raised you better than this. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us? Your mother needs her medication refilled this week. Don't you dare abandon your responsibilities to this family. I stared at my phone, stunned by the sheer audacity of their words. My responsibilities? What about their responsibility to treat me with basic respect? Instead of responding, I drafted a clear and firm email. Dear Mom, Dad, and Amy. I've done a lot of thinking since yesterday. The Hawaii incident wasn't a miscommunication. It was a deliberate choice to exclude me while still taking my money. This pattern ends now. Effective immediately, I am cutting off all financial support. The money I have given you is a choice, not an obligation. You will need to find another way to cover your expenses. Do not contact me about money again. I need time and space to reevaluate our relationship. Thanks. Within minutes, my phone erupted with calls and texts. My mother left voicemails between sobs, insisting they would lose the house. Amy bombarded me with angry messages, calling me selfish and heartless. My father's texts grew more aggressive, warning me about the consequences of my decision. I blocked them all. That evening, as I sat alone in my apartment, doubts started creeping in. Years of conditioning had instilled in me the belief that prioritizing my own needs was selfish. I had been taught to always put them first, to suppress my own boundaries for their sake. But as I recalled standing in that airport, realizing the extent of their betrayal, executed so effortlessly while using my money, I felt a shift within me. The following day at work, an unexpected visitor arrived. My Aunt Rose, my father's sister, walked into my office and took a seat across from me. I heard what happened, she said without preamble. Your parents asked me to talk some sense into you. Bracing myself for yet another round of guilt-tripping, I prepared for the worst. But then Rose did something unexpected. What they did was cruel, Jocelyn, she stated firmly. I've watched them take advantage of your kindness for years. It's about time someone told you the truth. You deserve better. Tears welled in my eyes as she reached across the desk and squeezed my hand. For the first time, I felt seen. Truly seen. They won't stop, Rose warned. They'll try everything to pull you back in. Stay strong. You're doing the right thing. 2 weeks after sending that email, I discovered something even worse than the Hawaii incident. During my lunch break, my phone rang. Rose's voice was tense with concern. Jocelyn, I need to show you something. Can you come to my house after work? When I arrived, she had papers spread out across her dining room table. Your father came to me last week asking for a loan, she explained. But he let slip a few details that didn't add up, so I did some digging. What she showed me made my stomach drop. Bank statements, loan applications, credit card bills, evidence of something far more sinister than I had imagined. My parents hadn't just been using my money for necessities. They had been living lavishly, fully expecting me to cover their expenses. Look at this, Rose pointed at a credit card statement. They took out a new card in your name 3 months ago. Have you checked your credit report recently? Hands trembling, I grabbed my phone and pulled up my report. My breath caught in my throat. There it was, a credit card I had never seen before, maxed out at $15,000. They had used my social security number and personal information to open it. This is identity theft, Rose said quietly. It's a crime, Jocelyn. My head spun. How could they do this? And there's more, Rose continued. That story about Amy's acting career? She's not in California auditioning. She never was. She's been living at home this entire time, working part-time at a coffee shop. The money they claimed was for her headshots and acting classes? They've been using it for gambling. Everything clicked into place. The constant pleas for more money, the vague excuses, the guilt they weaponized when I questioned them. This wasn't just emotional manipulation. This was fraud. At that moment, my phone buzzed with a message from my mother. Please, sweetie, we need to talk. Your father is having chest pains from all this stress. If anything happens to him, it'll be your fault. I turned the screen toward Rose. She shook her head. More manipulation. They're panicking because they know they're losing control. What should I do? I asked. You have two options, she said. You can press charges for the identity theft, or you can handle this privately. But one way or another, you need to protect yourself. I thought about the years I had sacrificed, the times I had put their needs before my own, the lies I had believed, the guilt trips, the tears, the supposed health scares. It was all part of their game. I want to talk to them one last time, I decided. Face to face. But I need you there with me. Rose gave a firm nod. I'll arrange it. But first, we need to gather evidence and freeze your credit. They've shown you exactly who they are, Jocelyn. Believe them. That night, sleep evaded me. I lay awake, thinking of all the dreams I had put on hold to keep them afloat, the house I never bought, the vacations I never took, the savings I should have had. They hadn't just taken my money. They had taken years of my life. But as I lay there, something shifted. For the first time in my adult life, I felt an unfamiliar sense of clarity. The haze of manipulation was fading, and in its place was a steely determination. If they wanted to play games, fine. But this time, I would be the one setting the rules. The confrontation was scheduled for Saturday afternoon at Rose's house. I spent the morning consulting with a lawyer, understanding my options regarding the identity theft. Then, I meticulously compiled a folder containing all the evidence, credit card statements, bank transfers, text messages, everything they had done. It was time for them to realize that their game was over. When my parents arrived, Amy was with them. She no longer had the carefree glow of the girl in those Hawaii photos. Instead, her face was pale, filled with guilt. They stepped into Rose's living room hesitantly, looking like children summoned to the principal's office. I took a deep breath, my voice steady. Thank you for coming. I've uncovered some things that need to be addressed. Before I could continue, my mother cut in, her eyes already welling with tears. Jocelyn, before you say anything, you need to understand. No, I interrupted firmly. I'm speaking now. I pulled out the credit card statements and held them up. Would anyone like to explain this? The color drained from my father's face. Amy appeared bewildered, but before she could respond, my mother quickly intervened. It was an emergency. We were going to tell you. An emergency? I interrupted, laying out even more documents. Like the gambling debts? Or the maxed out credit cards? Or maybe Amy's so-called acting career? Amy's head snapped up, eyes flashing with confusion. What do you mean, fake? She demanded. I turned to face her. You seriously don't know? My voice was steady, but my heart pounded. They've been telling me you're in California, pursuing acting. That's where all my money supposedly went. Headshots, classes, rent. Amy's expression darkened as she slowly turned toward our parents. What? She whispered, horror dawning in her eyes. I've been working at Starbucks. They told me you refused to help with my college tuition. The room instantly exploded into chaos. Amy broke down in tears, while my mother scrambled to explain, her voice frantic. My father, however, shot to his feet, his face reddening with anger. Enough, he bellowed. We did what we had to do. You don't understand. Oh, I understand perfectly, I said, reaching for my final piece of evidence. You committed identity theft. That's a federal crime. I met their stunned gazes with unwavering certainty. I have two options. I can press charges, or we can settle this privately. It's your choice. My mother collapsed into exaggerated sobs. You wouldn't, she gasped. We're your parents. Rose, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. Parents don't steal from their children, she said firmly. Parents don't lie, manipulate, and commit fraud. Before anyone could react, my father suddenly clutched his chest, staggering backward. My heart, he gasped. Call an ambulance. For a brief second, I hesitated. But then I caught the expression on my mother's face, not panic, but calculation. This was their final move, one last attempt to manipulate me. No, I said firmly. No more games. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to sign a repayment agreement for every cent you stole. You're going to shut down that fraudulent credit card. And you're going to stay out of my life. And if we refuse, my father challenged, his supposed heart attack forgotten as quickly as it had started. Then I pressed charges, I stated flatly. And you can explain everything to a judge. Silence fell over the room, thick and heavy. My father's shoulders slumped, his defiance crumbling. My mother, eyes downcast, suddenly had no more tears to shed. And Amy? She looked at me as if truly seeing me for the first time. As they signed the repayment agreement my lawyer had drafted, I felt no satisfaction. There was no victory in this, only a deep, aching emptiness for the family I had once believed in. In the weeks that followed, the carefully curated image my parents had maintained fell apart completely. Without my financial support, they were forced to sell their house and move into a cramped apartment. Most of their retirement income now went toward repaying me. This wasn't about revenge. It was justice. Amy moved in with Rose for the time being while figuring out her next steps. One evening, she called me, her voice small, uncertain. I had no idea what they were doing, she admitted. All these years, they've been playing us against each other. I'm so sorry, Jocelyn. Her apology mattered, but it couldn't undo years of damage. Still, it was a beginning. My parents made one last desperate attempt to pull me back in. They showed up at my office unannounced, causing a commotion in the lobby. We'll lose everything, my mother wailed. After everything we've sacrificed for you. I stood my ground, unfazed by the concerned looks from my coworkers. My voice was steady, unshaken. You lost me, I said simply. That's what matters. And that was your choice. Security escorted them out, and as I watched them go, I felt nothing but relief. The guilt that had burdened me for so long had finally lifted. I was no longer their personal ATM, their emotional crutch, or their victim. That evening, I did something for myself. I booked a trip to Hawaii, just for me. As I confirmed the reservation, I couldn't help but smirk at the irony. Years ago. They had tried to exclude me from a family vacation, but in doing so, they had given me something far more valuable. Freedom. 3 months later, I stood on a beach in Maui, watching the sky transform into breathtaking shades of orange and pink as the sun dipped toward the horizon. This wasn't the family vacation I had once imagined, but it was exactly what I needed. My phone, blissfully free from guilt-ridden messages, vibrated with a text from Rose. They're finally moving out of the house this weekend, she wrote. Amy's enrolled in community college. She wants to meet for coffee when you're back. I inhaled the salty ocean air, letting it fill my lungs before typing my response. Tell her I'm open to it. The repayment plan was working, steadily and surely. My parents had been forced to sell most of their belongings, and every month, without fail, a check arrived from them. Not out of remorse, but because they had no choice. The fraud charges I had held back would come into play the moment they missed a single payment. My mother still attempted to manipulate me through emails sent from different accounts. We're eating ramen while you live in luxury. Is this what you wanted? I deleted them without a second thought. Their guilt trips no longer had any power over me. At work, I had earned another promotion. The energy I had once wasted managing my parents' chaos was now invested in building a future of my own. For the first time in years, I was even looking at houses, a dream I had sacrificed for too long while funding their lavish lifestyle. Standing there on the beach, I finally understood. Sometimes, the most fulfilling conclusions don't come from seeking forgiveness or mending broken relationships. Instead, they arise from the strength to walk away and prioritize oneself. My parents had arranged this trip to Hawaii with the intention of causing me pain, yet, unknowingly, they had given me the greatest gift, freedom.